Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Vishnu Sahasranama. Continuing with this.
Vishnu Sahasranama.
Yeah, turn around and then you can take it down. Name 281 is Mantrah. Mantrah is, of course, a very well-known word. It's even entered the English language. It's a common word in English now. Like many Sanskrit or other words from other languages that have entered the English language, it's been modified according to the culture and usage of that language. So that in English it has its standard usage as in Sanskrit, which means a Vedic or other recitation. In Buddhism also, of course, there are mantras. But it's also come to mean in English something that someone repeats often. Or like their motto, something like that. Motto, do you know what that means? I don't know if there's any word in English. It's like the basic sutra, something like that. I don't know if there's any word in. Anyway, so mantra is Srila Prabhupada explained that man means mind and tra means trayate, that which delivers. So mantra is that which delivers the mind. And it specifically means sound that delivers the mind. In modern psychology, they've also invented various techniques which are supposed to deliver the mind from its imbalanced situation. So, but yes, the Vedic conception of delivering the mind is quite different from the modern psychological ideas. The whole understanding that we are in this whole world is, this whole situation is a great illusion that we are trapped in because of material attachments and desires is quite a different approach to the mind to that in Western psychology, which has based on the illusion that they're in, promotes the idea that the mind of a person should be adjusted so that he can peacefully, without unnecessarily harming others, pursue a life of sense gratification. So from the Vedic, or especially the Vedantic perspective, modern psychology is completely useless. It purports to deliver the mind, but it's as the English saying goes, out of the frying pan into the fire. It's from one situation of Maya into another situation of Maya. So we don't usually think of when we say the word mantra, we don't usually think of that as the name of Krishna. But it's Krishna who is the force in the mantra. It's not that any sound can deliver the mind from Maya. As Srila Prabhupada often gave the example that we chant Hare Krishna repeatedly, you can't do that with a mundane sound like Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola. There is a theory which is quite prominent in neo-Hinduism, that means Hinduism divorced from its traditional roots, and which is in the new age of the Western world. It doesn't matter what you can do. Japa, chant a mantra, but it doesn't matter what you chant. It's just the process of chanting, and that puts your that induces an altered state of consciousness. Although in traditional Vedic culture it's understood that you just can't invent any sound and call it a mantra. Certain mantras which are given in Shastra, they have specific potency, which you just can't invent something that's equal to Vedic mantras. So this is similar to the idea that, well, you meditate, it doesn't matter what you meditate on, you can meditate on whatever you like, you can make some sound, whatever you like, as long as it's repetitive, and then it will induce some meditative state of consciousness. But there are certain mantras which are specifically mantras, and you just can't make any sound into a mantra. Because Krishna, he is non-different from the Vedas, from the Vedic sounds. Now, actually the word mantra, even without considering the Vedic sounds, that name means Krishna who delivers the mind, whether through Vedic sounds or through whatever process. So there are various Vedic processes. Chanting mantras is one of them. Mantras may be chanted alone or in conjunction with archan or yagyas. In archan, the chanting mantras is requisite, and in performing yagyas, it is required. So in Gita, we find Krishna says, "Mantroham," I am the mantra, specifically in relationship to the yagya, to the sacrifice. So all the elements of the Mantroham aham eva jam, what is that? Aham hutam aham datam. All the elements of the sacrifice, they are Krishna. But there are, again, it's not that you can just throw something in a fire and call it a sacrifice, even if you chant some mantras. To chant those mantras effectively requires training, purification, and it requires admittance into the art. That is called initiation. Diksha, or that may also come. There's a lot of confusion in our movement because we mix up the terms and the processes of Upanayanam and Diksha. So it's not that just anyone can chant a mantra and it will have an effect. One has to be initiated into the chanting. One has to be qualified before one is initiated. The initiator has to carry the Shakti of the mantra by himself being qualified. One should know the meaning of the mantra. We often find that priests, they can chant mantras on and on, but they have no idea what they mean. So there are many conditions by which the mantra is effective. And although mantras are ultimately meant for delivering the mind, there are various types of mantras within the Vedic corpus which are employed for various uses or ends. Mantras, they may be used for going to the heavenly planets, invoking various demigods, winning a victory in war, for defeating one's opponents, same thing, or for black magic, for counteracting black magic, for installing deities, in deity worship, in bathing. At the time of bathing, one chants mantras. For when making medicine, when taking medicine, there are mantras for finding things which are lost, and all kinds of mantras. That's why they're often in English it's sometimes translated as a mystic incantation. Mystic, this term gives the idea of something that is beyond the ordinary understanding. It operates on a different platform to that of ordinary worldly understanding. Somewhat connected with religious or spiritual, and only known to a few people, and may have some very unusual effects also. So, mantra, Krishna is the mantra. Of course, there are mantras for protection also, personal protection. And one theme that we find repeated in this Vishnu Sahasranama is how Vishnu, Bhagavan, he protects his devotees. So this is one means by which the devotees, they invoke his protection by chanting various mantras. All the Vedas are composed of mantras. So it's Nigama Kalpa Taru. There are all kinds of things that you can get by chanting the Vedic mantras. But the ultimate gift of all the mantras is to be delivered from this frightful world of birth and death, and to attain the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. And of course, various mantras, they are meant for simply for glorifying Krishna. And anyone who glorifies Krishna is automatically delivered from birth and death. Someone who is simply absorbed in glorifying Krishna, then by that very fact, they're already beyond birth and death. So the next name is Candramsuh, which means that Chandra means the moon, and Angshuhu means the effulgent rays, Prakasha. So those, Krishna of course is often compared to the moon, and here specifically the effulgent rays of the moon. So this moon which we see in this universe, it is just a facsimile of the moon who is Krishna. Aparupa, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know if that comes in. It's another form. But the beauty and the pleasingness of this material moon is just a tiny representation of the pleasingness and the beauty of the original moon who is Krishna. There are several names in this section of Vishnu Sahasranam which refer to light. There are various kinds of light. The sunlight is very strong and powerful, at least in this country, most of the year. Is this rainy weather which we're experiencing in it? That's normal at this time of year in Chennai. It's a cyclone. It's not part of the the southeast monsoon. That's finished, is it? No, but there's another monsoon in November in Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, but that is also effective.
I see. So there's a cyclone at sea, and we're just getting the edge of it.
And they are calling still that.
I see. So the sunlight is very strong and powerful, but the moonlight is soft and not very bright. We'll never get burned by the light of the moon as we can by the light of the sun. There's candle light, incandescent light, gas light, neon light. Just in a name previously, we were discussing how people who are very pure, their body, they have a brightness about them also. That's also one kind of light. And in the case of Krishna, he's so bright that even when he goes into a dark room, he lights up the room. Which is not surprising because he is the source of all light. Well, you might say, well, he's the source of darkness also. Then why doesn't the darkness come? Why is there not darkness around him? But actually, darkness is simply the absence of light. It's not a phenomenon in and of itself. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoy Andhaka Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Radhika. Where Krishna is just like the sun and Maya is just like darkness. Where there's Krishna, there's no question of Maya. So Krishna is compared to the moonbeams. When we're burned in the heat of the sun all day, then we take pleasure of the moonlight at night. Nitai padakam ala koti chandra shushi tala jai chayai jagata jurai. This first line of a song of Narottam Das, Srila Prabhupada translates saying that the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are more pleasing than many millions of moons, and the whole world can take shelter in the shade of those lotus feet. Now the moon rays, that also Krishna, he states in Bhagavad Gita that as the moon rays, he nourishes the vegetables. Yat Candramasi Yat Tejo, what is it? Tadvidhi, I can't remember it now, but he says that as the moonlight, he nourishes the vegetables.
Krishna Gita in the Sahasranama Kadrikalai Patri சொல்கிறார்.
Choshati Sarava. So modern scientists, I don't know if they're aware of this, that the moonlight nourishes the vegetables. But if they are aware of it, they would say it's because of their great research. But simple, uneducated people all over the world who have been growing vegetables since time immemorial, they know this. These nonsensical scientists, they spend millions of dollars in doing some scientific research just to find out something which any gardener knows. So this statement of Krishna's in Bhagavad Gita, that's very apt, and that can be easily understood. In a society which is not, like in modern life, completely cut off from nature, then everyone understands these things. Oh, that's in different. Yat Candramasi Yat Chagno Gama Vishacha Bhutani Dharyame Ahamojasa Pushnami Choshati Sarava Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha. Yeah, in two verses. In one verse, he says that he is the moon, and in the next verse he says that he nourishes the vegetables, all the vegetables, by becoming the moon. It literally means that. Somo Bhutva, and the moon is full of rasa. The moon is composed of rasa, which injects into by his moonlight, he injects that into the vegetables. So one reason that vegetables grown in artificial way, just like they grow vegetables indoors in the Western world, but they don't have any flavor because they don't get any exposure to moonlight. And so name 283, Bhaskaradyutih, Bhaskaradyutih. So this means he is the light of the sun. So both of them. Prabhashmi Shashi Surya Yoho. He is, Krishna claims in the Gita, I am the light of the sun and the moon. So this Krishna, he'll be compared more to the moon, and Ram will generally be compared more to the sun. Just I gave that example, Krishna Surya Sama, so Krishna can be compared to the sun. And Ram is called Ramachandra, so it's not that it's completely divorced from each other. But Rama is Suryavamshi and Krishna is Somavamshi. So the sun becomes very happy with the appearance of Rama, and the moon becomes very happy. That's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. The moon became, because although it was Ashtami in the Krishna Paksha, it's dark. The moon is already half dead at that time, half waned, but he became a full moon on that night in happiness because of Krishna's appearance. Krishna appears, that is called Jayanti. The day of his appearance is called Jayanti because of the particular order of the constellation at that time. Today is the Mokshada Ekadashi, which is the anniversary of Krishna speaking Bhagavad Gita at Kurukshetra to Arjuna, not to the sun god. This is often inappropriately or incorrectly called Gita Jayanti. But the word Jayanti specifically refers to the astrological configuration which was there when Krishna appeared in this world. So to speak of Gita Jayanti or Balaram Jayanti or Nrsimha Jayanti is incorrect. And definitely to speak of Ambedkar Jayanti is way off. Gandhi, yeah, well you spiced it up a bit. I just said incorrect. And you said foolish.
I said Muttilu completely out.
Oh, is it?
Completely out.
Oh, okay, alright, okay. Now I'm incorrect. So this Bhaskaradyutih, That is the scorching of the sun. The scorching of the sun is for the non-devotees, for the demons, and that Krishna is scorching he's scorching like to the demons, and he's very cooling and pleasing to the devotees. So again, all these the names in this section are connected to the Vishvarupa. So all this is visible in the Vishvarupa, the sun, the moon, everything. Although the Vishvarupa is overall scorching. All right, Hare Krishna. Any question about this? Any question on the topic, first of all?
You were saying that
I said.
Whoever chants a mantra of Krishna immediately gets out of this material.
You have just said that I said whoever chants the mantra of Krishna immediately gets out of this material world. I don't remember saying that.
Anyone who glorifies Krishna gets out of the material world.
They are in the platform.
Yeah, well that's also stated in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna mantra hoite hobe shangsha mochan. By Krishna mantra, one is released from material existence. But for chanting mantras, some qualification is required. For nama, the only qualification is faith. Prakrita Sahajiyas and Mayavadis, well they may chant the name, but they don't have, their faith is not proper, so they don't get the same result. This word Shraddha in Sanskrit is translated as faith in English, but it's an incomplete translation. There's no real word in English for Shraddha. Shraddha literally means that in which one places one's heart. Yeah, anything else? That was... Yeah. Sampradaya vihinaye mantras tu nishvala te mata. Yeah, if one chants a mantra but doesn't receive it in the sampradaya, then it doesn't give the result. So that follows what I had said, that to take a mantra one has to have a qualified teacher, one has to oneself be qualified, one has to be trained. There's a whole system for chanting mantras. Otherwise the fruit of the effect of the mantra doesn't manifest. So Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, he referred to mantras chanted in these bogus sampradayas as empty, dead mantras. Then anything else? This is a common question. We're chanting Hare Krishna, we're doing everything for so long, and Krishna still didn't come and bow down before me and wash my feet. So what's going on? Or I still didn't see I still didn't get the opportunity to join the Rasa Leela.
We fall down. It is not the question of washing the feet. I mean, we still fall down. That's the question. Why do we fall down?
Why do we fall down? Yeah, it's another form of that. Why do we still fall down? There may be many reasons for fall down. This is another commonly asked question. One thing is, there's no question of fall down for someone who didn't go up. So we may be chanting and doing everything, but we may not be going up. In fact, we may be becoming more polluted. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes that by Shravan and Kirtan, we may be watering the weeds and not the Bhakti Lata. We may be nourishing the anarthas rather than Bhakti. So by superficially hearing and chanting about Krishna, if we think, oh, now I've become a great devotee, or there may be so many anarthas, or nourishes so many anarthas may be there that in such a case, the apparent fall down is not really a fall down. It's just the mature, the manifestation of a state of rottenness which has become mature, like a fruit falling from a tree, or that's not a good example of the pus bursting out of a boil. The pus was already there, but it just came to a state where it burst out. Otherwise, reasons for fall down may be many. Offenses, complacency, bad association, circumstances that we find ourselves in and we don't find ourselves strong enough to cope with them. But even if a devotee falls down, he's not fallen in the same way that karmis are fallen. Navai jata katanchana vrajain mukunda sevyanyavadanga sangsritim. What's the next line? Mukunda. Anyway, this verse, that states that. Now it tells Vyasa, even if a devotee falls down, he doesn't undergo material existence in the same way that materialists do. You can never forget Krishna. Do you have your computer there? You can look that up. Now, na is one word, then vai, V-A-I, jano, J-A-N-O. That should be enough to get it. Navai jano jatu katan shana vrajen mukunda sevyanyavadanga sangsritim. What's the next line? Smaran mukundam Smarankundangri upaguhanam puna vihatamichen narasagraho jana. What's the translation? My dear Vyasa. Narad says to Vyasa, my dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of Lord Krishna sometimes falls down, somehow or other, he does not undergo material existence like others. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can never forget them. Smaran mukundangi upaguhanam vihatamichen narasagraho jana. Is it Janaha or Jana? Janaha. Jana, not Janaha. Hare Krishna. A couple of suggestions, actually 3 suggestions. One is to have a bell at the entrance so you can ring it while entering. That's the usual thing. Number 2 is to clean the bell from time to polish it from time to time. And number 3 is that if you place the flowers before Srila Prabhupada, it's almost like offering them to him. So they're already placed at his feet. So it's better not to place them at the feet before formally offering them. Hare Krishna. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Smaran mukundangri upaguhanam punah vihatamichen narasagraho jana. Very nice verse.